Back here on College Football Corner, segment 2 of our NFL Draft 2015 preview. Jersey Joe Archino, Anthony Carlo joining you today. And Joe, we're going to move off of QBs, which I think it was fitting to begin with since this, a lot of the NFL tends to revolve around the quarterback.
You're not going anywhere with that one.
No, and it's proven time and time again. I mean, look at the New York Jets, and the state they're in. We'll move on to the top 5 wide receiver picks that Joe thinks will be, really buying some stock in the NFL draft. People will be buying stock in. We'll begin now looking at last year's draft. I mean, Sammy Watkins, Odell Beckham Jr., Mike Evans. Some wide receivers really made a name for themselves in their rookie seasons. Odell Beckham Jr. I think you could say Sammy Watkins had a pretty solid rookie year.
Terrific.
Mike Evans, I think, a little overshadowed as a wide receiver, but all in all, I think they definitely put up numbers in the NFL. It'll be interesting to see if a team can strike gold like they did, like the New York Giants did with this upcoming wide receiver class. So we'll begin with number 1, and Joe, you have Amari Cooper there. Amari, 3,463 yards, 31 touchdowns in his career at Alabama. What is it about this kid that is going to attract NFL teams?
I mean, to be honest, I was writing down all his strengths, and every single strength you'd want, he has. He's one of the best wide receivers I've watched in college football in a long, long time. He runs fantastic routes, excellent ball catcher. He's physically just big. He just go up and get the football. He's done it against some great SEC defenses, breakaway speed. There's really nothing not to like about Amari Cooper. I mean, it's as safe a wide receiver as you could get. I think he's probably one of the next big names. And the big thing I really like is you could just throw him in right away. He's just going to make an impact. I think just because physically he could just fit in right now. I think, of course, he's going to get even bigger, but I think right now, even if you plugged him in, he'd just make an impact. He's just going to be a fantastic player.
Amari was a candidate for the Heisman Trophy,
rightfully so.
Yeah, even though Marcus Mariota definitely ran away with that one. I believe it was somewhere over 92%
Second highest of all time, yeah.
Second highest of all time. But Amari did come up big. I remember later in the season, Amari had some big games where the team basically won on him, and especially when Blake Sims had been carrying that team a lot of the year. There were games where Blake didn't necessarily have his best games, and Amari really stepped up.
And that's the thing is, SEC defenses know who's getting the ball. I mean, it's no secret what Lane Kiffin's trying to do. When the game's on the line, you got to get him the ball, number 9 the ball, and he just always delivered. I think just game plan-wise, you watch him against these SEC defenses, which are as close to NFL talent as we can get, and that projects very highly for you. And for him, I've just been this year was just unbelievable for him. I can't wait to see what he does in the NFL.
So we'll move on to number 2, and this particular player may be a New York Jet one day. He sits in that 6th slot projected 6th slot, which the New York Jets may have a shot at. That's Devante Parker. And Devante, now, in order for the Jets, Joe, to get him, I think that they do have room to work with in their cap space, but I think there is a question with Percy Harvin and whether or not they're going to continue holding on to him or if he's going to be released. That would definitely ensure Devante Parker. But anyway, what do you see from this kid?
Love this kid. I mean, like you're just saying, I'd dump Percy Harvin in a minute if I could put this guy on my roster. I remember I didn't get to watch him as much this year because Louisville wasn't as great. Of course, Teddy Bridgewater going to the NFL. But last year, you watched Devante Parker and Teddy Bridgewater. What a dynamic duo this was. Again, another number 9 like Amari Cooper. He's just so physically strong. He reminds me a lot of Larry Fitzgerald. Every time I watched him, he reminded me of Larry Fitzgerald. Big kid, runs good routes in the red zone. One of the best wide receivers in the red zone in college football I've watched in a long, long time. I just think he does everything well. He's got great size. He's got good speed. I mean, when you watch him with Teddy Bridgewater, you could just see how much talent this kid has. His numbers did go down a little bit this year, but that's, of course, going to happen when you lose a quarterback like Teddy Bridgewater. But I just think Devante Parker and Amari Cooper, both these guys are just going to be phenomenal wide receivers in this league. We saw, like you were saying before, how much good we've seen from guys last year, Sammy Watkins, Mike Evans, Odell Beckham Jr. these two guys right away are going to carry that mantle. They're not going to disappoint.
That's good to know because those three wide receivers that we had mentioned in the NFL from last year have definitely helped the game.
Absolutely.
I mean, with the stuff they've done, I mean, Odell Beckham Jr. and that amazing catch he had this year really had the whole NFL talking, had everybody talking. So it's good to know that they'll carry on that baton. We'll move on to number 3, Kevin White, and just to mention Parker's numbers in his college career at Louisville: 33 touchdowns, 2,775 yards, and now on to our number 3 spot, Kevin White, who stands at 6'3", weighs in at 210 pounds.
I think Kevin White is a guy I really like from West Virginia. I really liked watching West Virginia's offense this year. Dana Holgorsen always does a nice job. I really liked him when Clint Trickett was healthy. Him and Kevin White were just on the same page. A comparison I read on CBS Sports was Tavon Austin, and I think that's a pretty good comparison. I mean, I think he's a little bit bigger than Austin, so he's got a little bit more size and muscle than him, which is good, but he's got that great speed. He's a very good ball catcher, runs good routes. I mean, it's a guy who I think if you need kind of a slot guy, you need that speed in the middle of the field, I think you're going to have a lot of success with Kevin White.
Jaelen Strong, he is sitting at that number 4 spot, 6'3", weighing in at 215 pounds. His ASU career, 17 touchdowns, 2,287 yards. Will Jaelen make a case in the NFL draft?
Absolutely. I mean, Arizona State, say what you will about Todd Graham, but I think he had a very good team this year, and he was just a very good guy. When you watch, he just really stood out to you. Good size, which you always need. He's tall, go up and get the ball. A little bit thin, probably needs to put on a little bit more muscle size, but I just think he's a guy who's just going to go up there and get the ball, a little bit like maybe an A.J. Green, if you had to kind of project what he'll turn into. But I think he's going to be a guy who's going to be a nice receiver.
Maybe a T.Y. Hilton, somebody like that.
A little bit bigger in size than T.Y., but it definitely got the catching ability.
So we'll move on to your number 5. Who is that, Joe?
Got to go with Devin Funchess from Michigan, and I think the thing I really love about this kid is he's just big. I mean, he's 6'5", 230 pounds. He's just a big guy. I mean, you watch him hurdle over guys, and now his numbers are not even near the other ones, and that's mainly because Michigan just hasn't had a quarterback in a while. When he was there, Devin Gardner was just not a guy who's going to really get you the ball, but I think size is just a guy who's going to plow over people. He looks more like a tight end than a receiver to me when I watch. So I don't know what a team is going to do, but no matter what you do, I think he's a guy who's just going to be a matchup problem. We've seen how big these hybrid guys are, and we see like Jimmy Graham. Is he a receiver? Is he a tight end? I think this is the kind of guy who could put up that similar type thing because athletically he can do what a wide receiver does, and he's shaped like a tight end. Just a guy who's going to create a lot of matchup problems in the NFL.
And I believe Jimmy's getting paid as a wide receiver now after his tight end stint.
I think they tied him as a tight end, which he wasn't very happy about.
Did they really?
They did.
Oh, I remember reading before the season that he was looking to get that. You may be right.
He wanted it
he
bad.
He wanted that wide receiver title.
A lot of people think that's maybe part of the reason things went so bad was just the disharmony. You could just see that him and Peyton just kind of things didn't. I think that made their moods not work out too much. But other than those guys, though, there are still, it's a great class for wide receivers. There's more guys like Sammy Coates from Auburn. We talked a lot about him this year. Just a big guy from Auburn. I love him. I think he's another guy who's really going to make an impact. Rashad Green from Florida State has been there for a long time. Excellent pass catcher. A little small, but as good hands as you'll find in this draft. Tyler Lockett from Kansas State, a very speedy guy you could put in the middle. Another guy, slot guy, could be the next T.Y. Hilton. Every time I watched him play, I'm like, that could be the next. He's probably got more speed than T.Y. Hilton does. And then Ty Montgomery from Stanford, another just big physical receiver. It's a great draft for wide receivers, for positional players. I think if you're a team who really needs a receiver, and there's a lot like your New York Jets, well, not yours, but we do talk a lot about them.
Mike DeMurgis's New York Jets.
New York Jets. I think you're going to be in very good mood with this draft because there is a lot of good guys who are going to help teams out big time.
As a Giants fan, I'm hoping that we can come up with another good pick, even though it won't be probably as good as our Odell Beckham Jr.
ODB is a beast.
Yeah, he definitely has set the bar high. But Jersey Joe Archino, Anthony Carlo will be right back for one more segment here on the College Football Corner look at the 2015 NFL Draft, and we'll be finishing off with the top 5 running back picks that Jersey Joe Archino will have for us right here on College Football Corner.